I was married to a man who is now serving 45 years in prison for murder, and this is my story, part 8. After I left him, surprisingly, he didn't really try to get back with me, which was perfect for me because I was done, like you all clearly could tell in the story. We sat down together and worked out a visitation schedule for him to see the kids, and I hired a lawyer, and we went to court and filed for a divorce. Things were decently good for the first couple months after we did separate. I had got moved into a low-income apartment. I got a job at the nursing home again. I was supporting my girls. Life was good. And then this is when he stops getting the kids. His mom would message and still want to get them, so I would let them go and spend time with her. But it finally came to a point to where I was like, why am I even forfeiting my time when they're not spending time with their dad? Like, I know they needed to spend time with their grandma, but it's really not fair for me to lose my time when the dad doesn't want to see or take care of his kids. This went back and forth for a while with him wanting the kids and then not wanting the kids. And he would find a girlfriend that would take care of the kids for him. And then once he finally realized that he wasn't going to be able to keep a girlfriend either because he was a piece of shit, is when he got really bad off on drugs. Now, during this time, I had stopped letting the kids see him. So I left him in January of 2016. My daughters had just turned 5 and 2 years old. And I stopped letting him see the kids probably in, I'm going to say like July of 2018, somewhere in there. So he's seen the kids for a little over 2 years before I went no contact with him. That December rolled around and I got paperwork in the mail where he was taking me to court fighting for full custody of my kids. Now, mind you, he hadn't seen my kids in 6 months. So I hire a lawyer, and I really don't put much thought into it because I know he can't pass a drug test. I know he's a piece of shit. And I really just knew that the Lord would be on my side and things would work out. The court date rolls around and he doesn't even show up for court. Like, he had hired a lawyer, or his mom had hired a lawyer, and she was there, but he didn't even show up for court. And I told the judge, I said, I am not agreeing to him seeing the kids. He's $15,000 behind in child support. He hasn't seen the kids in 6 months because he's so strung out on drugs. And I am requesting for a drug test. And I don't want a piss in a cup. I want a hair follicle test. His lawyer tried to claim he wasn't on drugs, so the only way the judge would agree to the hair follicle test was if I had a hair follicle test done as well. Not a problem with me. I've never used drugs a day in my life. So they sent me to one location and they were sending him to a different location. And we had like, I think 3 or 4 hours to have the testing done. So I left court and went straight for my hair follicle test. And what do you know? He never even has his done. So when we go back to court, of course, they threw the case out because automatic fail if you don't go for the test. Now, mind you, during this time, he had no contact with me or my children. I had him blocked on all social medias, and during the time, I didn't live in the town that we live in now. I lived about 3 hours away. So, I mean, he didn't try to, like, come hunt me down or nothing. August 25th, 2019 was one of the worst days that I will ever forget. And it'll be a day that sticks with not only me, but my children's hearts and so many people in our community forever. I received a call out of nowhere from an unknown number, but I answered the call anyways. I was at home. Now, mind you, like I said, I lived 3.5 hours away from my hometown during this time. And whenever I answered the phone call, it was DCBS. They told me that they were trying to locate my house and that it was urgent that they speak with me. So they were literally within a mile of where I lived at. So I give them the proper directions, how to get there. I have no idea what's going on. Like, I don't know if someone's reported me to DCBS or what. But whenever they pull up and they come inside, they start asking me questions about my said husband from the story time. And I start telling them, how they haven't had any contact with him, and I've got court documentation to prove. this and this. Well, they want to know where the kids are at because they need to talk to the kids. Well, I inform them that, the kids are at school during the time Zoe was in the 2nd grade and Chevy was in preschool. Well, I asked what this is about. Like, why do you need to talk to the kids? What's going on? And they informed me that there is a bench warrant arrest for their biological father for assault to a minor. I was at a loss for words. I didn't even know what to say to them, let alone what to do. Well, they had to talk to my kids to make sure that my kids were okay. I kept reassuring them that my kids had been no contact with him for over the past year, but they still had to lay physical eyes on my children since the charges that he was wanted on were assault charges for a minor. When social services left my house, they left me with paperwork that awarded me full custody of the kids immediately. And now, mind you, he was still on the loose. They had a bench warrant for his arrest. And the next 24 hours before he got arrested was the most terrifying time ever. I was scared to death knowing what he was accused of, that he was going to come and just off us all. I had no idea. Less than 24 hours later, he was picked up and his charges were moved from assault to a minor to murder to a minor. He had murdered his girlfriend's 2-year-old daughter.